Am I the asshole for ruining a decade-old friendship for money? I've, 36F, been best friends with Sarah, 36 female, since high school. We always had a good relationship for decades even though we moved to faraway cities. Her husband Aaron, 36M, has his own startup company built from scratch and is quite a workaholic. When I quit my job 2 years ago, she offered me a job in her husband's firm where she also works. One day, she called me crying. Apparently, she had texted a guy months ago, then felt guilty and stopped, deleted the texts. Aaron just found out, instantly fired her, put divorce papers and threatened her with not showing the kids. Telling kids their mother cheated if she did not sign the papers. You know, I was still a good friend to her during all this. I was like, you made a mistake, yes, but it doesn't mean you should be homeless. I mean, I hate cheaters, but I get it. In a way, at least. He neglected her way too long. He was her first boyfriend and I get why she might wonder if grass was greener. All good reasons to divorce, though not cheating. She agreed to most of his demands, and he calmed down. She did some meditation stuff and forgave herself. And she was happy as clam 3 weeks later. Meanwhile, Aaron started rethinking the decisions Sarah made for the company. I asked Aaron if I should brace myself for dismissal, since she hired me. He assured me, we are professionals, you provide value. So, I rejected a good-paying job offer. Although Aaron didn't pay me that well, working remote, and working next room from my baby was important. 2 weeks later he fired me. Telling, they were in debt and couldn't afford my salary. He told me, according to law they have 15 days to pay my severance wage and they were going to use it. I wait 15 days, no pay. I call my lawyer, there is no such a law, have to pay the day they fire you. I call Aaron. He tries to gaslight me and says, I didn't say it is the law. I just said we were out of money and requested you to give us some time. I'll just pay half of it next month, other half the month after. I am bad at confrontation. I made my husband call Aaron. They are not friends, but you know, best friends' husbands end up spending time together in events. It wasn't that out-of-box thinking to make him call Aaron to mediate, since they know each other. My husband wasn't rude, said things like we'll sue you. Aaron said they made me a favor by hiring me pregnant and allowing me remote. So it was my turn to make a favor for allowing them to pay whenever. Dude, I didn't beg for a job. Your ex-wife came me with an offer. Right after this call Sarah texted me, saying I shouldn't have allowed my husband involved. If I didn't understood anything all I had to do was to ask and Aaron would explain. I texted back, Aaron lied to me multiple times. I do not need his words, I need actions. And it is between me and Aaron, you don't work there anymore, and you are not his wife anymore, so you are the one who shouldn't be involved. She blocked me everywhere. Mutual friend says I am ta. Aaron ruined the friendship by lying. The rest is just fallout. Not the asshole, but I hope you learned a valuable lesson about mixing business and friendship. You didn't ruin the friendship over money, they did. They owe you. Good luck collecting though. Info. What country is this in that there's a law saying he owes you severance? Are you the asshole for asking for money that you believe is owed to you? No. Are you the asshole for telling your friend who doesn't work there and is divorcing her husband to stay out of it? No. Had to cut a lot of details. Feel free to ask for info. Not the asshole. He fired you because you are his ex-wife's friend. He owes you money. You are entitled to collect. Am I the asshole for wanting to keep my siblings in the dark until my father's funeral? I, 20 female, have 4 siblings on my father's side. My father, 77 male, was married to Maria when he was younger and had 3 children with her. After a few years my father and his wife decided to get a divorce. It was amicable for the sake of the kids, but my father still loved his ex-wife very much. A while later, my father dated this other woman, Anna, and ended up having a son with her, Leo. Their relationship didn't last long and my father chose to wait until Leo was a bit older to introduce him to his other kids. He did so when Leo was 6, but his kids didn't take it very well. My mother met my father a while later, they dated and she fell head over heels for him. He broke things off with her claiming to still love Maria and saying he wanted to try again with her. A few weeks later he called my mom saying he missed her and wanted to see her. I was the result. He didn't believe I was his. He wanted a DNA test and said my mother was lying. I was born and they did the test, it came back positive. Even then he never tried to approach my mother nor meet me. My mother insisted that he should give me his last name and he kept refusing to do so, so she took him to court. It was a very bloody thing. He lied several times, said she tried to baby trap him even though he was the one to approach her, lied about how much he paid for child support for his other kids, turned down visitation rights, etc. I never really missed having a dad. I have a great mother that always gave me love and affection. I asked about him and my mom was always very honest, saying that she contacted him and asked him to meet me, but he refused. I was a bit sad, but the thing that really hurt me was not knowing my siblings. I asked my mother if I could at least meet them, and that's how I found out that my father had never told them about me. My mother said that he and Maria got back together and he said that Maria didn't want the kids to know. When I turned 18, my mom said that she had found my siblings' Facebook accounts and that we could send them messages explaining the situation. I honestly don't crave a relationship with my siblings anymore, so I chose not to. I explained to my mom that I want to wait until he dies and show up in style at his funeral, preferably wearing a black dress with heels, huge sunglasses and a hat. I feel like the people that admire him should know how he really is. Also, even if he doesn't put me on his will, as one of his children, by law I have to appear at the hearing anyway. Maybe I'm an asshole for wanting to do that to people that love him and are mourning him, and I sort of feel bad about that. But I feel like his name should be dragged through mud for what he did, and the only way to do that would be in a place where everyone in his life is gathered and they can't manipulate the events through the grapevine of gossip. So am I the asshole for wanting to expose my father at his funeral? You are the asshole. Don't punish your siblings for your father's failings. Especially not on what will already be a difficult day for them. Like you, they're innocent of any wrongdoing in how your father chose to behave towards his children. Look, I'm not going to call you the asshole for not wanting to reach out to them right now, or ever, but as someone with a few more years of experience, I can promise you that revenge fantasies like that never play out the way they do in your head, and it's better to try to find peace with your life as it is than to pin your emotions on a scene that could end with you being removed from the venue by force, or have the whole situation twisted to still find a way to make you the bad guy. You are the asshole. You want to punish people who don't even know who you are. They are completely innocent. What is the point of dragging someone's name through the mud after they're dead? Will it really give you satisfaction? By law you have to appear the hearing? What law is that? You clearly did miss having a dad. Have a lot of issues about it that include self-aggrandizing fantasies, and should leave all those completely innocent and uninvolved people alone if you don't want to know them. You are the asshole. So you don't want to confront the actual villain in the story, instead wait and make his funeral, which is for people to grieve, and make it into a soap opera moment all about you, a stranger in a giant hat. You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to talk to my mother after she refuses to kick out her boyfriend? My mom's boyfriend, 44M, who we will call James, has been around my mom since my mom was in high school. They lost contact, but became friends again when my parents were still together. Around January 2020, my mom said to my father that she was going to go to the gym. It was later revealed that she went on a date with James. When my father found out, they got in an argument. A few weeks later, my parents took me to a park to get some Wendy's and just hang out, and that's when they told me they were getting divorced. I kind of expected it, so I had little reaction. The next day, my dad told me he was going to stay with a friend, leaving me, my mom, and my sisters. The day after that, it's around February this time on the story, this new guy came around. That's right. Just a few weeks after my dad walked out, this new guy came in. I thought he was cool. My sisters hated him from the get-go, and I wish I listened when they said he was a bad person. I would often hear my mom and sisters arguing about him. I thought they were overreacting. Moving about a year forward, March 2021, nothing got better. The arguments were more frequent. I started to dislike James because of what he would say to my sisters. My sister and I got in a heated argument about something. Can't remember what. And slammed her door on my finger and broke it. I said that's that and I left and moved in with my dad. This didn't last long. I'm going to save your time and skip that part. Lo and behold, I moved back in with my mom. This is where it gets important. My sisters both moved out, leaving just me. I started hating James even more now that he made my sisters leave. He kept trying to buy my love by buying video game currency for me or giving me money or buying me snacks. I still hated him. Let's skip to present time. I absolutely despise James. He has come into my room and taken pictures of my room. Called me names like pig or fatty, and he has often shamed me for eating a lot of food. I've spent hours yelling at my mom telling her to kick him out of the apartment or I'm leaving. He's not on the lease, she can legally shove him out. I've called the sheriff's office multiple times, and even though I had proof, they believed him. I was telling one of my online friends about this. They said they think it's an abusive codependency relationship. Regardless of my recent efforts to get him out, she hasn't. She refuses. So I've started yelling at her, saying, it's either him leaving, or I'm leaving. And will often start crying. When she does, I walk away from her and refuse to talk to her for days at a time. I constantly remind her that I'm the only kid that still talks to her, and in the future, when I can safely move out and get my own place, I'll block all contact with her too. She hates this and calls me selfish. Am I the asshole? Edit. I forgot to mention, one time he threw my phone against a wall for no reason. He has kicked down my door numerous times, and if I forget to do the dishes, he throws the dishes in front of the door and sometimes the dishes will break. This is horrible. You don't mention your age. How old are you? And how old are your sister who moved out? Can you contact your dad? Not the asshole. This sounds like an absolute nightmare, and the fact that she sticks by someone who mistreats her children is unconscionable. Not the asshole, you're in an abusive situation. I'm not sure what happened with your dad. Can you tell us why you can't just go there? Not sure how old you are, but whatever you can do to get out of that situation, you should do it. How old are you? Everyone sucks here, but mostly mom and boyfriend are tush. Am I the asshole for interfering with my sister's parenting and handling of her blended family? My sister has 3 kids from her first marriage. Ryder, 17M, India, 14F, and Gray, 13M. My sister lost her first husband 9 years ago and remarried 6 years ago. Her husband came into the marriage with 2 of his own kids, Tasha, 9F, and Nate, 7M. Ryder has always been a creative kid and he does a lot of sketches and drawings. He's really good too. Over the years he has grown so much and become good enough that he makes some money doing art for people online. He has also gifted some family members drawings. A few weeks ago my sister was in the kids' rooms and noticed that India and Gray had drawings from their brother. Some of them were drawings of the family as though their dad was still alive. Others of them as siblings, and some of them and their best friends. She went into Ryder's room and saw drawings of her late husband as well as more that Ryder drew of them all with his dad around. There were none of her husband or stepkids. My sister asked India and Gray where those drawings came from, and they said Ryder gave them as gifts for Christmas some years and that he normally did that when it was just the 3 of them. They said they only decorated their rooms with them in the last few months. My sister then confronted Ryder and asked why he was only gifting to his bio-siblings and not his step-siblings, and why he didn't ever draw the blended family. He told her he didn't want to draw the blended family, he wanted to draw his family. She told him anyone looking at what he draws would think his dad was still alive. He pointed out he adds rip somewhere on his dad when he draws him. She told him it was still wrong and he should be doing more to include everyone in the drawings. Ryder said he would never draw them and the 2 fought. She told him he better start drawing everyone, or else. She came to my house a few days ago and told me all about it and how Ryder had been fighting with her ever since. She said she considered waiting for him to draw and making sure he included his stepdad and stepsiblings. She even considered taking away all his art supplies. Over and over she told me that she wanted to get him to cut the shit and embrace the whole family in his art. I couldn't hold back from telling her she couldn't, and shouldn't, tell him what to draw. That his art is personal and he's being discreet when he gives some to his siblings. I also pointed out he has a lot of stuff he draws and she should focus on being proud of how good he is instead of turning his art into a battle. I reminded her that he's 17 and she won't win the battle, she'll simply push him away. This is when she cut me off and told me I had no right to interfere in her parenting and blended family, and if I could not be supportive of her then I needed to shut my mouth. She ranted that I showed how little I give a fuck about the family and accused me of being a bitch. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your sister's going to find out the hard way that you're right. She's trying to force things then lashes out at him for not obeying her. And it seems to be her go-to behavior. Look at how she acted when he didn't do what she wanted and compare it to how she acted with you. Not the asshole, you didn't interfere. You gave your opinion when she came to you with a problem. And to make you even less the asshole, your advice was good. Not the asshole. Ryder will end up going no contact pretty soon if she continues this behavior with him. Not the asshole, but your sister sure is. She's got it all messed up in her head. Not the asshole he will end up cutting her off for doing things like this, and then she will be crying about she doesn't know where she went wrong or why her oldest never comes around. Had the stepkids came to her about being left out of his drawings, I could see why she might try to have a conversation about being more inclusive. But that's not the case here. It seems that he gives the drawings to his siblings discreetly and she didn't even know this had been going on, much less the other kids knowing or saying something about it. She needs to let him draw what he wants, and kudos for being a good aunt and standing up for your nephew.